Governor DeSantis, let's talk politics for a minute. It's been kind of interesting what's happening with him.
Yeah.
He went on this book tour, which I thought was pretty lackluster. I mean, he didn't make like a big splash. It didn't really help his poll numbers. He went into like only super friendly places and really didn't make a lot of news. Then he went on this little world tour where he went to visit 5 different countries. And I don't know what to make of it, Pat, because there was this very nasty report in Politico about how that went. In particular, this appearance he made in Great Britain. But, the press hates him. So I'm trying to take it with a grain of salt while still being open-minded to who he is, because we don't know him enough. We don't actually know whether this is why you have a primary. Like, you have to test the guy and see how. But this is what Politico said. They said he met with more than 50 representatives of major UK firms and business lobbying groups. I mean, he's of course running. Like, I love how we all have to pretend he hasn't announced yet. He might not be running. Why the hell would the governor of Florida be doing any of this? One UK business figure said DeSantis, quote, looked bored and, quote, stared at his feet. Quote, he had been to 5 different countries in 5 days and he definitely looked spent, but his message wasn't presidential. He was horrendous. A second business figure who's in the room said it was a, quote, low wattage performance that, quote, nobody in the room was left thinking this man's going places. They said it felt really a bit like we were watching a state-level politician. I wouldn't be surprised if people in attendance came out thinking that's not the guy. So what do we have? We have a left-wing publication citing 2 people who were in the room who were underwhelmed by DeSantis. Okay. To me, that sounds like what the press is going to do against any Republican who might be up and coming. But the polls also show he's struggling. He's struggling within the Republican Party to really resonate. There are new polls out just today, over the past couple of days. There's CBS YouGov. Trump 58, DeSantis 22. That's not good. The previous was Trump 42, DeSantis 32. So it was just 10-point difference in February. Emerson, Trump 62, DeSantis 16. Previously, there had been a 30-point difference between the two of them in February. Trump continues to rack up pretty much all the endorsements there are to get in the Republican Party. So where does that leave us, right? Because how do we factor in left-wing media bias against Republican candidates? And is DeSantis genuinely faltering? Because this stuff about not being able to really connect with people is a recurring theme.
Well, you said something, I want to say 5 weeks ago when you said, why are you not coming onto my podcast to promote the books? Or this was 6 weeks ago when you said this, and I fully agreed with you. I don't understand the marketing side. I don't think they have a strength when it comes onto the marketing side. See, in a company, if I were to hire Ron DeSantis as a president of a company, okay, say a GE hires him, say a company that's about driving initiatives, recruiting, hitting markers, quarterly numbers, doing quarterly calls, I think he would totally crush it, right? Because Tim Cook's not a personality guy. You don't go to Tim Cook and say, well, Tim Cook, if he was only a little bit more charismatic, Apple would have done better. No, Tim Cook took Apple when Steve Jobs died from a $100 billion company to nearly a $3 trillion company. That's 30xing a $100 billion company. And nobody, not one person in the world is going to get up there and saying, here's 10 keys to Tim Cook's charismatic personality. We're never going to say that. So in that arena, I think DeSantis would crush it. In the arena of being a leader of a military unit, a general, he would crush it. When you get into politics, there's this thing called cameras, okay, and TV and news, and you have to sell the audience, okay? Vivek Ramaswamy is getting all this momentum. You know who he is. You hosted one of the great debates right after him and David Sachs went at it. I thought it was fantastic what you did. We're seeing him everywhere. Literally, you're seeing him everywhere. He's selling himself. He's selling his ideas. A lot of us are going like this, and we're saying, it's actually a good idea. I actually like the way he handled Don Lemon. I actually like the way he did this. And we're starting to say this more and more and more. And it's kind of like, I'm kind of liking this guy a lot, right? Now, let's go to Ron DeSantis. We had this conversation today on our podcast with Jedediah and Bila and a bunch of different guys that we had here. And here's what we talked about. The concept of blue ocean strategy. Blue ocean strategy, some will say, is the greatest marketing book ever written. If you've never read it, you have to read it. It sold 5.5 million copies. And it's known as the top 10 best business books of all time. I expect everybody that works for me to read this book. Phenomenal book. In the book, they give the formula of how companies and individuals, us, can go compete against somebody that's big in a marketplace and not get in a red ocean, instead compete in a blue ocean. Red ocean is sharks that are all eating from each other, and there's blood everywhere. It's red, like I steal your guys, you steal my guys, I steal your clients, I'll give you a better deal, I'll give you better this, I'll pay you more. It's a red ocean. Blue ocean says, no, just get away from that ocean and go into a complete different market, kind of like Yellowtail, the drink, used to compete with wine. Finally, they said, no, we're not going to be competing with wine. Let's go compete with beer companies. And then all of a sudden, they went and brought beer drinkers because their drink was $6, and then boom, they took off, right? Okay, let's look at Ron DeSantis. The formula is create, eliminate, increase, decrease, okay, to separate yourself. For example, when I started my own insurance company, I looked at the marketplace. The average agent was a 56-year-old white male, is what the average agent in the insurance industry was. It was 17% women, 56 years old, and nobody used social media. So I sat there and said, okay, I'm going to eliminate securities licenses. We're not going to use Series 766. We're just going to do live. We're going to increase social media presence because no one's using it. We're going to create an environment to target women because women can talk to other women who are the decision makers about life insurance, because typically mothers and wives are more concerned about life insurance than husbands and fathers are. That's going to be our audience. So today, if we put a convention together at August with 15,000 people there, the average agent's going to be a 34-year-old Hispanic female. That's what you call a blue ocean. Then the market comes and they buy our company a year ago, and it was a beautiful experience that we had, right? Let's go to Ron DeSantis as a product. As a product. Charisma. Can you go face-to-face against Trump? No way. You're not going to win. Trust me. Ask Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz. You're not going to be able to do that. Trolling, can he go up against Trump? Nope, you're talking about a street brawler from New York. Good luck trying to do that side. Okay, where can he go and do that? Military background. Everything he does needs to be at a military unit because he served in the military and he was a JAG lawyer for Navy SEAL unit, all this stuff. Trump can't do that. He can't. Kind of like, remember back in the days when Dukakis tried to set himself up as a leader and he's in the tank, boom, it was over. That is actually an audience that he can play off of. There's 30 million veterans in America. That's a big vote. You can go work off of that. And we'll look at this guy. He looks like he's a military guy. He looks like the commander-in-chief. If he goes and talks about his track record during COVID, is there anybody above him on handling of COVID? Are you kidding me? You got the woke.
Kristi Noem. She's there, but she's not running.
Yeah, you got well, I agree. Totally, you're right. You got the woke who couldn't stand your policies. You forced them, while they had BLM on the floor, to host the NBA Finals in Florida. I mean, how much of I would be talking about that 24/7. AOC came to your state for vacation during Christmas. This should be like, the greatest hits that he can go on nonstop. Now, this is the other part that sometimes, Megyn, if let's just say, I'm assuming you and Tucker have spoken. I'm not asking for you to answer that. I'm just saying, I'm assuming you and Tucker have spoken. Why is that an assumption? Well, because Tucker is probably a good idea for him to call you. Why is that a good idea? Because you've been through this before, okay, in a different way, but you know what that experience is to go through with Fox. So he's probably called you. I'm assuming Tucker's probably spoken to Beck and maybe even spoken to Bill O'Reilly. Why? Because these were all at one point cream of the crop, right? There is wisdom in calling somebody else that's gone through what you've gone through. Do I think Governor Ron DeSantis has called others to ask for wisdom of what to do, or do I think their camp thinks they know exactly what they're doing? I don't know. But if I'm a betting man, I'm more betting on them thinking they know what they're doing rather than leaning on others who have been through this before to say, what should we do with our marketing strategy? Should I be out there more? I'm in Israel. Yeah, I'm doing this, hey, he's looking tired. What should I be saying when I'm doing this? I think there's an element of that where you got to bring some of the right supporting cast around you to help with the strategy. Who knows? Look, in about 2 weeks when he's going to be making the announcement that he's running because, he's got to lock in his governor position. Maybe in 2 weeks when he comes out, Megyn, he's going to shock the hell out of all of us. He's going to take the gloves and say, ready? Let's go, because I'm free now. You were thinking I was afraid? I've not been afraid. I couldn't make the decision till now. Let's roll. And maybe we're going to be shocked. But until then, I think a lot of the criticism he's getting is fair.
Look, you can go to Brazil or Colombia or Korea or wherever and get crazy stuff done to your face. But why would you do that? Now you can look years younger, right before your very eyes, without all those weird interventions. That is, during the Genucel Mother's Day sale. Here's a real review from Genucel.com. Claire writes, I absolutely love Genucel. My skin feels so good, tighter, younger, with a more even tone, and I only used it for a week. My advice for everyone, take a before picture. Her husband, Jim, writes in with this: wife loves it. Ever since I purchased it for her, things got much more interesting after dark. Enough said. It's true. Nothing works like Genucel because it's a family recipe for over 20 years, made by a compounding pharmacist in small batches, and always safe, cruelty-free, and natural. Go to Genucel.com/MK60 and save over 70% off Genucel's most popular package, all their best stuff, during their Mother's Day sale. Every most popular package features their ultra retinol and dark spot corrector. Don't wait. Go to Genucel.com/MK60. Genucel.com/MK60. Get a complimentary Spa Essentials box with every package order from now through Mother's Day. Plus, free upgrade to priority shipping. GENUCEL.com/MK60. Genucel.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.